What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can get a faster release off the ball. So we're mainly going to be focusing on a wide receiver's stance and a wide receiver's start, and some of the key mistakes that wide receivers will make with their stance, like being too wide or having their hands crossed, and then some game speed examples of how you guys can improve that, and some good examples of guys getting off the ball quickly. So I hope this video helps you guys out, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to get some work in with us this offseason, we're traveling out to 3 more states across the U.S. for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camp. So if you guys want to get some work in with us, next place we are traveling to is Nashville, Tennessee. Then we're heading out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then Los Angeles, California. So those are 2-day-long camps. It's 4 hours each day, fellas. So it is going to be a ton of work, a ton of reps, and it's going to be a small group environment so you guys can get the most out of the workout. So check out that very first link below if interested, fellas. Let's get started with this video. So this is just a picture of a wide receiver in a stance. This is not a full clip. We're going to play a full clip in a second. But one of the things that will make wide receivers slow off that line is by being too wide with their stance and with their back foot. So anytime that you guys are wide, right, you want to think of it like when you run a 40-yard dash. When you run a 40-yard dash and you get down in that 3-point stance, what's important to get you out of there fast? A lot of people talk a lot about shin angles, right? You want that shin angle to be like on a 45, both shin angles to be on a 45 so you could explode out of there. But when you guys are down in that like 1 point or that like 3-point stance and you holster your hand up like you're ready to go, your feet aren't super wide. Your feet are very like close together, almost narrow in fact, because that's going to get you off the ball quicker. And that first step is going to be an explosive first step. So I know this is press coverage, and I understand that we're not going to be able to just run right by this guy. But when your base is super wide like this, you have to take a false step. You have to bring this foot up, then get off the ball rather than just exploding off of that front leg and being able to drive. So fellas, the first mistake that will make guys slower off the line is they will have a really wide base like this. So now I'm going to play a clip full speed of a wide receiver having a narrow base and being able to get some explosion off the line. So this is Calvin Ridley right here. So he's going to be against press coverage, but he's going to be running like a diamond release slant. So some of you might think that this is a false step that he takes, but it is actually a great way to get more speed off the ball. So let's play at full speed. So he goes here, 1, 2, 3. I think we can all agree that's a pretty fast release, very twitchy off the line, and he's able to make this catch. So on that type of release, it is so important that we self-fade. Inside shade, you have to run a slant. You got to be fast when you try to sell this fade. But inside shade, have to run a slant, something called a diamond release. 3 steps on a 45-degree angle to get that DB to flip his hips, and we could slip back underneath. Now, in a second, we're going to talk about the hand technique and why you guys should not cross your hands and how that can build into this. But right now, we're focusing on the feet. So when he comes off the line, you see how his feet are underneath his frame. That's how you guys generate explosion. Believe me, think of it like a QB. When a quarterback throws, he's taught to not have a super wide base. Because when your feet are super wide, you're not able to generate power like that. So to get quickness, to get some speed off the line, you want to think about it the same way. We want to operate with my feet inside of my frame, like underneath my shoulders, if you will. Now, you don't want your feet like almost touching, obviously, but you want to be in about this position. Because now when he takes this thing called a prep step, that is not a false step. That is a part of the release. That is to push him into that first step. That is to get him explosion into the first step. So when you guys have a super wide base like that, like if you see in the example below and you were to take this prep step, your base would be so wide, you generate no power and your release would be slower. So when he comes off the line, Calvin Ridley, because he's in a good base, because he's in a strong base, that step is actually under his frame. And when your cut leg, your drive leg, however you want to call it, is under your frame, you can push off of it and get a way more explosive and way faster first step. So fellas, whether you're working a release, whether you are just running off the ball against zone coverage, you got to make sure that your base is not too wide, because when you guys can generate power inside your frame, you have way more explosion. You're able to throw your hip into your break a little bit more, and obviously just force a reaction out of that DB. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Ridley, exploding off of that first step, getting that DB to flip those hips, and then being able to make that play. So now, next common misconception is this right here, the crossed hands made famous by Odell. Now, when you watch Odell do this, he is never doing this against press coverage. And it is rare that Odell sees press coverage because of how dangerous of a route runner he is. But you will never see him do this against press. Here's the reason why, fellas. When you guys cross your hands like this, yeah, it looks cool. I understand. I get it. But when you get a DB who shoots a hand right at your chest, you are going to have to open up and then swat his hand away. And there have been guys like Deion Sanders who have talked about this before as a DB. When he sees a guy's hands crossed, he teaches his guys to just choke him right off the line. Get hands right away. Because you're going to have wasted motion. And one of the things that makes you faster off the ball is eliminating all wasted motion. Believe me, fellas, there's no reason to do the crossed hands. If anything, it's going to be slower. Because when you guys come off the line, you're obviously trying to drive what leg through? This back leg. You're trying to have weight on the front foot and you just want to drive. But if you guys drive off the ball and your hands are crossed and you try to take that first explosive step, you have to come open first and then start driving your arms. And that will make you slower. Believe me, not to mention what happens when a DB decides to throw hands, but it will make you slower because that is wasted motion that we do not need. So now let's play this clip from Devontae Smith. So I want you to see his hands here. His hands are low, but they are relaxed. That is the key to being fast off the ball, fellas. A lot of guys, what they will also do, and I didn't show this example of this, but I didn't feel the need to talk about it because you're seeing less and less of it. But a lot of guys were always taught, oh, you want to have your hands up by your chest, ready to fight at all times. But when you stand up there and those hands are by your chest, naturally your traps and your shoulders, everything gets real tense. And when you're tense, you lack range of motion. And when you lack range of motion, you're not going to be as fast. It's no different than running a 40-yard dash. Like I said, what do you need to do with your arms on a 40? You need to drive your arms on a 40. So if you're super tense, you don't get that full range of motion, you're not going to be running as fast. So we want to make sure my hands are ready to go, but I'm in a relaxed position here because now let's play at full speed. He could just come off the line and have his hands be active. His hands are still ready to go. His hands can work quickly with the release, and it will give him so much more speed. Because when your hands are crossed, fellas, and you try to do a release like this and you can't get your hands active, you can't use your hands to give you some quickness like he does right here, that's going to make you much slower off the ball. And if he gets hands, right away, we are screwed. So, fellas, got to make sure that we are relaxed with my upper body. My hands are not crossed to eliminate wasted motion, and my hands are just ready to go, ready to be quick, so I could get off that ball fast with little to no wasted motion. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Smith having those hands ready to go, being able to swat, and using those hands as part of the release to get some quickness to his steps. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you'd like to come out and get some work in with us this off season, we're traveling out to 3 more states: Nashville, Salt Lake City, and Los Angeles, California. So check out that very first link below. We'd love to have you out to one of our camps. I'll see you guys next time.